Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Maria Gonçalves podcast. I am your host, Maria Gonçalves, and today we have a special guest all the way from the UK, John Goodey. So, welcome, John.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to let our listeners and viewers know a little bit about you. So, John is a natural medium from the city of Oxford, England, a minister and president of Oxford Spiritual Church. His mom had mediumistic abilities, and his auntie helps him run the Oxford Spiritual Church. He has worked with spirit all his life, giving messages since the age of 11. That's amazing. And platform since 14, working in and with trance since the age of 16. So for 54 years, you've been doing this work,
Yeah,
correct?
yes, that's right.
Wow. And in his family, it was normal to see and communicate with spirit. He was always encouraged to communicate with the spirit world. He is a teacher and demonstrates both trance and mediumship for over 40 years, holding group circles, conducting one-to-one readings. He has worked in Holland, Spain, throughout the UK, and in the US, and with his dear friend, the late Janet Nohavec's church, The Journey Within. I love Janet. That church
Yes,
is
it's
just
lovely.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yes. His family has built a center named after Benjamin and Ben's Place Center for Spirituality on his premise where he lives in Garsington. Did I say that correctly?
you did. Yes, well done.
A small village just outside Oxford, where he hosts friends and notable mediums to do workshops and mediumship demonstrations, such as Chris Drew, Tony Stockwell, Sue Wood, and Rebecca Sawyer, and
Yeah,
many, many more incredibly gifted mediums that you've hosted. And he has many classes, workshops specializing in trance with himself, both in Ben's Place and on Zoom. And Ben's is now starting to have a following, and they are hoping to hold more week-long courses for 2025 for overseas visitors with yourself and with other tutors. I think that's incredible. And he has worked with a spirit named Benjamin Hawkins. So can you please share with our viewers, because first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being here with us
you're
today.
welcome.
And you're such an incredibly gifted medium. I wanted to learn more about Benjamin Hawkins. So if you
Okay.
could share with our listeners and viewers, who is that?
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, obviously I did mediumship or knew of spirits, talked to spirits earlier than 11, but I came to realize that if you wish, I had a spirit friend or someone that was always there when spirits came, a little boy. And as I grew a little bit and understood more about working with spirit properly, mediumship, etc., around the age of 13 or 14, um, he came clearer to me in a way of communication. His name was Benjamin Hawkins, he told me. He's a Cockney boy from the East End of London and went to Spirit a couple of years after the war, Second World War finished. He got run over in the road. Um, I've never asked, lots of people have asked in my trance groups why he chose me or why he worked with me. I don't really know, but he's always been there since. So all the time. Um, he, as far as I know, it might be in the background in my mediumship, but he doesn't make his presence clear. In trance, it is him that controls the trance stem. He will open, close, speak to you, allow people to come. Um, so most of the people that visit and look on my trance group demonstrations have got to know Benjamin. A lot of them know him and his personality as a real, well, he is a real person, but more than me. Some people bring him toys to Ben's because he physically plays with toys in front of you. So people bring him cars, race cars, and toys here, such as his personality. So that's Benjamin. Yes. He's a larger than life personality. Well, he is larger than life, his spirit. But everywhere I go, people always ask for Benjamin. They always want him in the trance.
So is Ben's place named after
Yes. The
him?
story of Ben's place is 16, 18 years ago in trance groups, small trance groups with my family and friends. Benjamin told us that we would build a center, and he channeled, if you wish, when my brother asked him where it would be, he told us it would be here. He gave drawings to us through my brother Norman, drew according to his instructions where the windows were to be, where the platform was to be, where the PowerPoints were to be, every single thing. And as time went by, we forgot all about it. And he would occasionally mention we hadn't done it, but we just took it with a pinch of salt. And then in the year of before COVID, I forget the year, my brother was diagnosed with bowel cancer, and we were in isolation because of COVID, and even more important with him to keep people away. And he came round one day with the drawings that he'd put away, and he said to me, "We're going to build Ben's place." And so during the lockdown, we built Ben's according to his drawings. And of course, the only name we could call it was Ben's Place, because Ben now refers to it as my house, his house. So it is known as Ben's Place. Yes. So
I
that's where
love
it got
that.
its name. Yeah.
That is a beautiful
So
story.
everything with it is spirit guided and spirit given, even to where the PowerPoints are.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. So I have a question for you, and I want to show a picture. So for those that are listening, if you go over to the YouTube channel, you will see a picture. So you have a picture here. This is for physical mediumship then?
Yes, this is an ordinary which we call ordinary trance group. And we
Yes.
don't set off with uh any specific thing for it to become physical. Some days it's not, and some days it is. Some days spirit children come, some weeks we have it and they don't. It's just philosophy and different people. We have a basket of toys,
Yes.
yes, and a blackboard, various instruments, and luminous stars and luminous toys. And the children will come into the room and you'll feel them physically. The ambient temperature will drop to freezing cold. You'll feel them physically. They will pick a toy up and give you a toy, or throw a toy or a ball at you. They will put their hands over the luminous stars, so you will see little silhouette of tiny fingers,
Yes.
enabling you to see it. They'll shake tambourines, they'll write your names on boards, all sorts of things. And they leave a mess for everyone to clear up.
I see those. I'm curious. Are Ben's toys in here each time he
That,
brings in a little
that,
car and
they,
toys?
yes, they are. Yes, you'll see little cars on the floor there in the picture,
Oh, okay, I do.
and
They're like
they're his cars.
The little black spots are
Yeah.
the little cars. Okay, because I was curious when you were talking about Ben bringing toys, and then I brought this picture. I was curious if any of these toys were his toys. So
Yes.
I have a question for you because I know a lot of mediums ask me this, and I know there's so much confusion with in the mediumship world. And I think it's just because we're not trained specializing in each field, right?
Yeah.
Is trance the difference between trance and physical mediumship. So for
Okay.
this is physical mediumship. So where is the medium when this is all happening?
Uh, I'm in the tent in a cabinet,
Okay.
psychomantium, whatever you want to call it. I sit in there in red light conditions, so
Oh,
everyone can see. Um, I'm not tied in. I think that's too old-fashioned. And if you come to my center and you can't trust me to be honest, then don't come. So I don't need to be tied in. Um, Tied in is because for my used to be for the medium security or safety, and to check that they didn't cheat, because obviously it's very, very easy to hoodwink people in physical mediumship. And I do believe to this day it's still being done. Um, but I have such respect for spirit and honesty that I wouldn't dream of it. Well, people can see in the red light that I'm still in the tent.
yeah,
The curtains are drawn, so it's still the same conditions for trance. Um, and lots of other people, other ideas. You sit for the physical trance. We have those type of groups where we just sit for the physical trance. This one where you have the photograph there, we've sat for an ordinary trance demonstration, and just the children come and do physical there. So the energy must be right for them. So in respect to the difference between trance and physical, the medium is in trance the same, but obviously much deeper and much gone away. And so they are used as an instrument by spirit with the sitters. So the sitters are, if you like, batteries,
yeah.
and the energy is taken from them and focused, as I believe it to be, through the medium, so that it enables physical spirit presence, ectoplasm, whatever you want to call it, physical spirit presence to come in a form that can move things and physically be felt by people. So it's like trance, and then physical is one step on from trance. They're not different, but one leads to the other one.
So if somebody is training and their end goal or their dream is to become a physical mediumship, so they would begin in trance in
They
that
would.
surrendering.
Yes. And not all people that sit in trance and wish to do physical can do physical.
Uh,
Not everybody can go on from trance, whether they don't have the discipline within or have the correct intent. Um, I don't really know the answer to this, but I know that not everyone can do it. You know, you may have 6 or 7 people I may have in a trance class, and they'll express the desire to go on to physical. And maybe I will choose 2 people from that to do physical. And then maybe I will only get one that will do physical. So it cannot be predicted that people will be a physical medium.
Okay. And how many years does a physical medium train before they can go public?
Well, I would say that would depend on those who sit in their circle and become their mentors for what phenomena is shown. Yes, because many physical mediums now, including myself, um, you don't see many physical circles, and that's because they are liable now to ridicule by lots of people, you know.
Yeah.
Some people need proof beyond any ability that something is right, and you can't prove this. The only way you can do it is to take away all the possibilities of cheating, and that is, have red light so you can see the medium in the tent, uh, bind them in the tent. But sometimes mediums have been bound in the tent with pull ties, ropes, and we've seen it on film that they escape and cheat in the darkness.
Oh,
But I've been told, and my circle is evolving so that we no longer have to sit in complete darkness. Spirit have said they don't want us to sit in complete darkness. They're working towards that we may produce phenomena for everyone to see in the light. And so that is what we're working for. So to say how long it would be the same to ask how long is a piece of string. It would depend on each one's individual development.
yes.
Yeah.
I was just curious. So then I'm curious just because I don't understand. And one of my goals in life is to go see somebody do physical mediumship. Like I'm in Canada. I don't know anybody that does it around where I live.
You
So
have
I'm
a
always
ticket
so
to Oxford
curious.
then now.
Sorry?
A ticket to Oxford now.
Maybe that sounds like a good
Yeah.
idea. Because I'm just like, me and my friends are like, oh, we're so curious. And then we wait, will there be a medium that will come to Canada? But I don't know about that. So I just want to let people know that are curious that your center offers that, because I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. If you're looking to go on holidays and you're looking to experience this and you're curious, then yes, go see somebody that is a professional, correct? Because you don't want to get
Yes,
scammed.
that's very, research the person you go to see.
Yes.
Nowadays, you have the internet, you have photos, you have the medium's own website. Research, do your
Yes.
homework first, and then you won't be let down, or hopefully you won't be let down.
So then my next question is, because I'm so curious, so the toys in physical, like when you're doing physical mediumship, is it the ectoplasma that's moving that from the medium's body, or is that separate? Like
Uh,
spirit children are coming in.
I think it's, you see, so I have debates with my friends and they say it's ectoplasm, and I say, no, nothing is coming from me physically. But then spirit tell me it's ectoplasmic energy. They no longer try to work with the old-fashioned ectoplasm that's exuded from the medium. They work with an energy source now, and they try to build that energy source so that it has substance to move things. Yes, it's
Wow.
like the film you watch. Whoever wrote that film or designed that film, I swear, was a medium. Ghost. When
I
Patrick
love that.
Swayze has
Yes.
to learn to move the penny, learn to move, target the energy to move the can. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very similar. Spirit have to use our energy, turn it around, make it concise, make it powerful, call it whatever you will. As far as I'm concerned, in my teachings, there's too many labels in mediumship and spiritualism. Just accept it for what it is. Don't try and call it something. So that energy, that force is what moves the toys. Plus, in my group, you can see shadow people, and you can watch a shadow child, sometimes, not all of the time, pick a teddy bear up and bring it and put it on your lap. It's just a dark shadow. You can see through it, but it's darker than the darkness that's in the room. Yes.
That is interesting. So I have another question because I have heard other mediums say this over time, and I don't understand, um, where they say the medium, the physical medium,
Yeah.
needs to be tied up for their own safety.
Yes.
What does that
Uh,
mean?
um, I I sit away from Ben's in a little sanctuary in Banbury in Oxfordshire called Jenny's Sanctuary once a month for physical trance for a dear couple that are now in their 90s and have done organized demonstrations all their life. Colin Fry sat there and many other mediums. And now I sit there and they're old fashioned, so they Velcro me into a chair, which when I first went, I felt really uncomfortable about. Um, but now I don't mind. But in Ben's, I don't want that. So it's, I think it's that it comes from the really pioneer days of mediumship, where, it was thought that it was very dangerous, and it still can be dangerous, but I don't think there's a need for it anymore.
Okay.
I really think we don't need the blackness anymore. If you conduct it in blackness, then nowadays I would think it's done so that you can tell what you're seeing and what you're experiencing is true. It's not the medium coming out the tent touching you in the darkness, or waving their shirt so you feel a breeze and saying that's spirit. Um, that would be, in my mind, what it is used for nowadays. But with mine, it's in red light, and sometimes Ben will ask for the red light to be turned off when there is extreme physical things to produce. He will
Yeah.
say, "Can you turn the red light off, please? Because we want to conduct an experiment." And then you may be touched, or you may see a spirit, a shadow person in the room in front of you, and they'll probably need that darkness. And I asked Spirit many, many years ago why we need darkness. And Ben's explanation to me was, if I take a candle outside in the sunlight and I light the candle, what do you see? And you'll say, no, next to nothing, just a little candlelight. But if I light the candle in a darkened room, what do you see? And then you'll say, I see the flame and the colors in the flame. I see the aura of the flame coming out in the room. So you can see much more. And that is why they do things in the dark, to enable you to see far more.
Oh,
And
that
also,
makes sense.
yes, and also when you consider light is an energy, yes?
Yes.
So when you are energy yourself and you're working with energy to produce phenomena, you have to correct and alter all the energy sources around you to get it how you want it. So if you don't have to correct light energy, it makes your life easier or your job easier. And so if it's darkness, they can just concentrate on producing their phenomena for us to see without having to correct and alter the light source. So it's just basic common sense, really.
So is there your most memorable physical mediumship demonstration or that you've attended that you could share with us?
Yes, I have one of my own at Jenny's Sanctuary, when I'm strapped into this big heavy chair that all the mediums have used for 40 odd years. And the curtains are pulled in the tent, and there's an arc around me of people. And on the floor around me are bongos, trumpets, drumsticks with luminous tags on, everything like in the picture there, but with far more between me and the circle. And I go away, and when I come back, my hearing comes back first, and then my eyesight. and then my limbs, like my legs work then afterwards, and my arms. And I don't have any recollection of any of my trance, so I don't remember any of it, except I just go away somewhere and then I'm back. I'm not aware of any time lapse in between. So I went away, and when I'm coming back, I hear voices behind me of my nephew and two more people in the circle saying, "Don't tell him, don't say anything. Let's see what his reaction is." And I think to myself, what's gone on here? And my eyes slowly open, and across the room, I'm looking at the tent with the curtains closed.
You moved.
And I am out of the tent, across the room, sat in front of the semicircle of people with my back to them, looking at the tent. There are no drag marks, it's deep pile carpet. There are no drag marks in the carpet. The curtains are still closed. No one has heard or sensed anything. And yet I'm sat right in front of them. It blew my mind. I had 101 questions, and it blew my mind. I just had to take all the questions away and just accept it for what it was, because it would drive me crazy. I did. So that was mine. The second one, I'd always read about ectoplasm, but never ever have I seen a physical medium exude ectoplasm. And I went to some people I know, the Parsonage Side Retreat in Somerset, to see Kai Mweg or Mwegi, a German physical medium. And I'd heard a lot about him. I'd heard that some of it was cheating and everything else. But I have to go, and I would advise everybody to ignore all that. Go make your own mind up. Eliminate all the facts for yourself. And that's what I have to do. So I went, and we did all our investigations. We looked at the room. He sits in red light so we can see everything. He had a German scientist create a voice box and talk to us in the room. And I was sat in the circle just next to him, 4 foot away. And this German spirit said, "We're now going to produce ectoplasm. Do not be alarmed by the noises that the medium makes. No harm will come to him. Just stay in your places and watch." So he groaned and grunted, and out of his mouth came like a cloth type luminous sausage of energy. It came out about like this, came out, fell to the floor, wove in a big pile. Then this voice box said to us, we're going to try now. We want you to sing to raise the energy. And we're going to raise the ectoplasm to his abdomen level. And I intend to try to produce my physical likeness when I was on the earth. So the ectoplasm rose to his belly. And in the center of the ectoplasm, there came a tunnel. And the ectoplasm was about 8-9 inches deep. And in the tunnel appeared a little face, and it moved, and he blinked. He had no white to his eyes were black. And he invited everyone to come up and stand in front and look at him. And then I didn't, because I'd already seen it. And he said to me, "Friend, come up and look." I said, "I've already seen you develop there." "No, come and look." And I went and I really bent over him and I looked, and the man looked up at me, gave me a big smile, blinked his eyes, and I was absolutely fantastic, because of all the books since Victorian times, and I'd seen it, I'd now witnessed it properly, and it was true to me. So those are my 2 times that actually blew me away. And I would recommend anybody to go see him if he comes to you. You know, there's a lot of writing about him being a cheat and everything else. Go make your own mind up. I did,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I loved it. So I would recommend him to anyone.
And what was his name again?
Kai, K-I-E, Kai, and then Mueg or Muegi, Mueggge. He's German.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look him up.
Yeah, please
'Cause
look
I'm
him up.
curious.
He does podcasts and pictures, and you'll find it most interesting. If you like physical trance, you'll find him most interesting. He
I
also
find,
he works with astral beings as well.
yes,
And there's evidence of that as well. It's really interesting.
honestly, I find all of this fascinating.
I do.
And it's incredible and humbling to hear somebody like yourself tell a story of things that I've only read in books of the pioneers. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, someone
Uh,
living alive today has witnessed that is like such a miracle.
and it doesn't matter how long you've worked with spirit or what you've done. Every day I'm learning like you, exactly the same. I'm having experiences that I love, and this is why I have such a passion for it. Um, because I absolutely love every single bit of it. You
Oh,
know,
it
I
sounds like it.
strive for new experiences. Yes,
I think that is amazing. So I have a question about you as a young child. So
yes,
I feel like you're so lucky you grew up with a medium mom and this was normal in your family.
yes.
And then,
So yeah, when it came from when I was born, and I have to repeat somebody else's fact because I don't know. But we lived in a stone house that was a nunnery. It was used to be used by nuns for unmarried mothers to deliver babies and such like. And when I was born, I was uh, about 12 months old. My father was called up in the reserves, army reserves, to the Suez Canal crisis. And so he was missing for 2 years of my life. And he came home um, unknown to my mum because he wanted to surprise her. And in our house, we had the big Georgian doors with the rattly brass doorknobs. And we had an Alsatian, a German Shepherd dog. And he used to see spirit. It was my mum's dog and look to the air and bark.
yes,
And when my father came home, after all the commotion of my mum, and then I was uh, 3, I used to sleep in a cot next to my mum's bed. And uh, my dad went into the dining room for my mum to make him a meal and bring it in with a cup of tea. And he was sat in there. And later on in life, he had spirit around him so much, he became mediumistic and he loved to sit in trance groups and mediumship dams. And the door knob rattled and turned, and he said, "Oh, I'll get the door for you, May," which was my mum's name, and jumped up. And as he went to the door opened in front of him, opened wide, and there was no one there. He said, and he felt an icy cold blast, and he was like frightened,
yeah,
shocked. And he went into the kitchen and he said to my mum, "This door has just opened and there's this cold blast." And my mum said, "Oh, that's only Grandma." "What do you mean?" he said, "Grandma." And she said, "It's the old lady. She's a spirit in the house." "I'm not having that," he said. We'll move. I'm not having any of this nonsense. And so they went to bed that night. And apparently he woke up in the night to go to the toilet, and there was a nun sat next to my crib, rocking it. And she turned round to him and he heard her speak. And she said, "Don't worry, I won't hurt him. I'm here to look after him." And he stayed in bed and crossed his legs and woke my mum up because he was too scared to get out of the bed to go to the toilet. And my mum said, oh, she's always here. Just take no notice, because it was normal to my mum. And it
Yeah.
started from there. So spirit had been have been with me. And I used to see spirit people and be frightened to death, as you would. And my
Yeah.
mum used to say, it's a privilege to see them. They let you see them. She used to say to me, don't be frightened. Spirit will never hurt you. Have you asked them who they are and why they let you see them? And I said, no, I'm too frightened. And she said, next time when one comes, say hello. Why do you let me see you? What do you want? And so I did.
Yeah.
And I must have been about 5 or 6 then. And so then I started to talk to them like real people. And I used to tell my mum, we lived on a small holding, and I would walk in up to the stables at night time in the winter. And one of my experiences was a man in an evening suit with his top hat on and his cane, and a lady with a little sparkly hat and a dress with hundreds of beads, which I know to be a flapper's dress now from the 1930s, walked right by me. And you can imagine when you're about 13, they're frightening you to death. I
Yes.
ran back into the house and my mum said, what is the matter? And I said, I saw two ghosts and they walked right by me and they were real. And she said, but I've told you before, ask what they want or say hello, but it's very hard to do this.
Yeah.
Um, it's very hard to do this when you're young. And it was my job on the small holding to shut the chickens, the ducks, and the turkeys up at night so the fox couldn't kill them.
Yeah.
And where we lived, there was a Roman settlement called Alcester in our fields. And our field was divided into two segments, the one with the horses this side and the poultry this side. So I had a little flashlight, and this time I was 16. I remember this till the day I died because it was my major scare. And as I walked up the field, I saw a grey horse and I thought, oh, one of them's jumped the fence and is in with the chickens. And then I thought, we don't have a grey horse. And as I got closer, I saw legs either side of the grey horse. Somebody sat on there and they had sandals on, and they were bare legs with sandals. And as I got closer, there was a man on the horse. He must have been Roman. Um, and he turned and looked at me, and he had a wound across here, an open wound. And it was like something on a horror film to me.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
turned round and I bolted back to our house. I went to my room and I thought, please God, don't let the fox come and kill the chickens tonight because I'm in for it big time. And instead of getting up at 7 in the morning to go get ready for school and my mum shout me and say, you're late, get up, I got up at the crack of dawn at 5 o'clock and I went at the field, and thank God that the fox hadn't been. And I came back down and my mum met me halfway and she said, what's the matter with you? You're up early this morning. And I said, oh, I've just been and let out all the chickens and everything before I go to school this morning, and told the lie. Um, but I never ever told them about him until that experience until I was about 30. And then I told my parents. And that stays in my mind
Yeah.
till now. So I'm not afraid, but that scared the blazes out of me that time.
But you were
Um,
a kid. Yeah. I'd
yeah,
scare
yeah.
anybody.
It was a traumatic experience. And so I've had the good bits and the bad bits as
Yeah.
well, you know?
Oh, that is fascinating. So, like, because your mom is so mediumistic and it's like it's normal in your house, like, oh, just talk to them. So
Yeah.
were her parents like that too?
No, they were Irish and they were farmers, and her father was a Christadelphian minister. He used to preach, and there were five sisters, and they were all brought up with a governess and taught to read the Bible stories. But my auntie rebelled, and she was a spiritualist as she got older,
Yeah.
the one that used to do the church. My mum always had a strong belief in God and would accept all religions because she used to tell us it doesn't matter what people are, whether they're Jewish, Hindu, Catholic, Christian, whatever, we all end up in the same place. And it's all one divine spirit, whether you call them God, Krishna, whatever you call them. It's
Yeah.
really one person. It's just all people's perspectives. And so we were all taught, my brother and my sister were all taught to embrace everybody as the same. Everybody's religion is acceptance. That's what really spiritualism is. It's an
Yeah.
acceptance of everything. We have no prejudice. You shouldn't have prejudice. You accept everybody. I do one-to-one readings for everybody of all religions and all races. Sometimes I wonder why they want a reading because their belief tells them they shouldn't. But I never question it. I do it because we should have all acceptance. And
Thank-
so that's what my mum, she wouldn't go on a platform in a church, but she would give friends advice, which we now know like readings.
Yeah.
But she kept it within the family and friends group, and everyone listened to what she said. Because some things, if we didn't, they came true, and they taught us to listen. So everyone in my family knew to listen to what my mum said.
I
Yeah.
love your mom. She sounds like a very
Yeah.
wise woman.
Yes,
So
she
I
was.
have a question for you. So then, how did you get into platform at such a young age? Did your
Okay.
mom train you to become a platform medium?
No, I just spoke to the spirit. And so sometimes when I would go to school and the mums would be outside the school, I would look at and they'd have a spirit. It was like The Sixth Sense, the film again, the little lad. I
Yes.
would look at the lady and there would be someone stood there and they would say to me, could I tell her something? But I wouldn't ever tell. I used to tell my mum to tell the lady. She used to tell me that she did, but I know she lied to me. If they were friends, she would tell them. Um,
Yeah.
but I used to go to Oxford Spiritualist Church. This was in the 70s with my auntie. And on a Sunday, my auntie would always say, "You're going to do that one day. You're going to be a platform medium." And I say, "No, Auntie Mary, I don't want to do that. I just like them as my friends. I don't want to do that." And so when the church finished and everyone stayed for tea, most people would go, and there would be a little group, and they would have their tea and chat, and they would all start focusing their attention on me. And I just knew what their game was. And my auntie would say, is there anybody for any of us? Do you have a message for any of us? And I'd say, this is trickery. This is trickery, Auntie Mary. And I used to give one or two. And then it used to get that every time I used to go to the church, there used to be more and more people have tea afterwards and wait. And so in the end, uh, I don't believe it was law then that you had to be 16 or SNU law or whatever to
Yeah.
go on a platform because I guess I was about, I don't know, 13 or so. And there with her, and the medium didn't turn up. And they were flapping who should be. And she said, well, maybe you could go up there and see if you could talk to your spirit friends and give us messages. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. And my auntie said, well, how about if I go and sit with you and sit on the platform with you? Would that be okay? Because we don't have anyone. And so I said, oh, it was like a bit of an adventure, really, see if I
Yeah.
can do this, like a test. And I said, oh, okay, I'll try. And as soon as I got up there, um, I see all types of spirit, but ones that are in a real physical form, I call real ones. So if
Yeah.
I saw somebody like I'm looking at you, that would be a real one. And as I sat down on the chair, there was a real one. A lady stood right in front of me and she said to me, "Hello, darling." And she was lovely. And um, she felt like my mum. I could feel her. And
Yeah.
she said to me, "I wonder if you could speak to that lady over there in the pink jumper." And
Wow.
so I said, "Yes, I can. Yeah. What do you want me to say?" And this was before I knew how to conduct,
Yeah.
mediumship. That's why I call myself a natural one, because nobody taught me it, only spirit. And so I spoke to the lady, and it was a mum. And I spoke to the lady in the pink and told her what her mum wanted and everything else. And it turned out that the lady had only died 4 days ago, and she wanted to tell her how she wanted her stuff done and everything. And so I tried not to be scared by that. And
Yeah.
then I just carried on regardless. Um, and I didn't do it for a good while after that because it was a bit of an awesome experience and I didn't know if I really liked it or not. But then I started to do it then. And I've always I don't know, I call it humility, but I've always lacked confidence in myself.
Yeah.
So people would say, "Oh, would you like to work in Liverpool and come and do this hotel for us?" And I'd say, "No, I'm not going up there. I'm not good enough." And my family would really tell me off. And it got so that um, some people rung up and said, "Would you come and do this demonstration in this hotel?" And I said, "No, sorry, I'm busy that week." And they said, "Well, here's my number in case you get cancelled." So I wrote it down, but I didn't intend to go. And my brother was sat next to me at my kitchen table, and I said goodbye to them and put the phone down and went to make myself a cup of coffee. And my brother had dialed the number and said, "Yes, John can do that for you. Thank you." And I died.
You
I
have
won't
an
tell you.
agent.
I won't tell you what I called him, but I died and I had to do it. But when I did it and I went there and all the people were there and I was buzzing because of all the energy from the people. And I just loved it. And I thought, why haven't you done this before? You've been so frightened. And that's what I would say to everyone. I used to compare myself to my friends or other people I knew that were famous mediums. And I used to think, well, I'm not as good as those. And my family would say, you're all the same. You shouldn't do this. You're just equally as good as them.
Yeah.
And now I tell people that now myself, that's your biggest downfall if you compare yourself to others. Don't do it because every one of us is like the spirit. Every spirit is unique. Every person is unique. You have your own pathway, your own rate of development, your own stages of understanding. Don't compare yourself to anyone else and what you do to anyone else and how good they see things and you don't. It doesn't matter. That's the biggest downfall in your learning
Yeah.
pathway to do that. Just enjoy the ride.
I think that's fantastic advice because I find we are our hardest critics because
Yeah,
our
I
friends will be
think
like, "Oh
so.
my God, that was really good." You'd be like,
Yeah.
"No, I
No,
missed
yeah.
here. I got to know there. It wasn't good enough." And then your friends will be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, it's exactly right, Um, yeah, just I have a thing now. My motto is just say yes. So whenever I'm asked to do anything, it's like I met Janet at Stansted and we were in the advanced group and I just felt she was lovely And I said, oh, I so want to work with that lady. And then I ended up being in the group. And she said to us, I don't know how you work. I'm from America, so I want to see you all do a demonstration. And I don't give out information because I see the spirit with you. So I go to you. And at Stansted, they poo-pooed that. They say you need to give out the demonstration, the evidence. And so I said to Janet, well, Janet, I already know where I'm going and I already know who I have, but would you like me to give out evidence first? And she said, no, John, I want to see you work how you work. Do whatever you want to do. And so I went direct to the person, gave the evidence, and we were best friends ever since. And with my friend Debbie Nicholson, who's also a medium and worked at Janet's, we went to Janet's when she bought the schoolhouse to turn it into a healing center.
Oh,
And
yes.
we went with Tony. Three of us went, and Tony was doing a week stem there. And so Debbie and I went along as well, but we went to fundraise for Janet. So we did demonstrations in the journey within. And I did trance stems and trance tuitions, and Debbie did the mediumship. We raised over $5,000 for the center in a week,
Wow,
which
that's
was
amazing.
really good. And we were due to go back there then, but unfortunately, COVID came and then Janet passed, which was a shock and a tragedy to all of us. So I've never been back to America since, but I intend to come back. I've been asked by a friend of mine if I would come back and do a trance week course there.
Wow.
So I hope to do that next year.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And when you said Tony, you meant Tony Stockwell?
Yes, yes.
Wow, because he does a lot of work for the Journey
Does, yeah.
Within and
He does.
Janet. And it's just
Yeah,
for those of you that don't know, go check it out, The Journey Within. She started it. It's a
it's wonderful.
beautiful organization,
Yeah,
yes, spiritual
yeah,
church. And she brings incredibly gifted mediums from around the world. She's now in spirit, but her
yeah,
place continues to
yeah.
touch
I think
people's heart.
Joe Shield has taken a place now.
Yes.
But it is a fantastic place. The energy in there is really lovely. It's beautiful. Yeah.
See, more places on my bucket list because I'm like
Yeah.
Toronto, Canada. So I have
Okay.
a lot of traveling to do.
You do. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I do. I'm like super excited. So I am curious. So your brother, does he have mediumistic abilities?
Yes.
Or is it just
Yeah.
you? Okay.
No, he does, but he doesn't do it. He sits in my trance group. He absolutely loves trance. He
Yeah.
sits in the trance group. He has cancer at the moment, long term, so he can't sit in the tent because he's not well enough. But he does it. My sister is that way inclined, but she doesn't do it. My nephew, my brother's son, he sits now for trance. And my niece is a brilliant medium, but she uses cards as well, and she's brilliant in trance. But I can't get either of them. My nephew sits in Ben's, but I can't get either of them to work publicly.
Not
But they
yet.
will, no, not yet, but they will do when they're ready.
I
So,
think
so it's
that's
all in my family.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It's like a family affair of
it is.
mediums, and everybody's
Yeah,
gifted
yeah.
and everybody's accepted for where they're at within their mediumship.
Yeah, I think because we've all been brought up in an environment where it's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's beautiful. I want to say thank you so much for spending this time with me. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours and
thank you.
hours. So I hope you can come back soon again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes. And before
Yeah.
we go, I do want to share with people because at Ben's place, there is a shop. And I just printed off some of these pictures. So there's crystals
Yeah.
that people can buy, oracle cards,
Yeah.
pendants.
I make crystal jewelry,
Oh, do you
and
really?
I sell it in the shop. It's called the Crystal Cave. I've not yet put it on a website, but I have a Facebook page with it.
Okay.
And
And
we
can
can,
people order this
they can
from
if they
around the
email
world?
me, I'm not like a big shop, it's only small. Everything is unique to Ben, to the
Yeah.
Crystal Cave. But if you email me, go on my Facebook and I can send you photos. And if you like something, then I can post it to you. It's as simple as that. I like to do things in familiar way, yes, not
I
a
agree.
big superstore.
I think it's beautiful. So for those that are listening, check it out and connect with John on Facebook. And I'm going to put the links up below the video and the audio podcast for those of you that are listening on Apple or Spotify. So on Facebook, it's called Ben's Place Center for Spirituality. That's the
Yes.
page. And then you yourself have your own separate page
Yeah.
called John Goodey. So
That's it.
check that out. And
Will
then, sorry?
Ben's will soon have a website. It's being created now as we speak. So you'll
Yes.
be able to book for our courses and see the years mediums that are coming, their workshops, my workshops and Zoom courses, and you'll be able to book.
Oh, I love that. When you get that up, I would love to share that with
Okay,
everybody
thank you.
and attach it to this video. And then here are some things that are coming up at Ben's Place. So we have Chris Drew, who he's an absolutely gifted medium on Saturday, the 21st of September. So it's happening at 7 p.m. This is in person, correct? At your place?
This is in person, yes. We
Okay.
can seat 40 people, so he's not in a big theatre. He's right in front of you, and he's the most amazing medium you will ever see. He's absolutely brilliant, and he's doing a workshop. If anyone's interested, the workshop is from 10 till 4 before the evening dem. Yeah,
Oh, that is
and
beautiful. And then we also have messages and portraits from the spirit world with Sue Wood and with yourself, correct?
yes, yes.
And that is Saturday, the 19th, October 2024. So this year.
Yes, this year, yes.
So
And
there we
Sue
go.
is again doing a workshop in the morning from 10 till 4, and that demonstration at night. So you can book for either or both.
And then
Yeah,
two, in the month of October, there will be a trance demonstration on
yeah.
Zoom.
That I will be doing that on Zoom. The cost will be only £5 and it's 7:30. I've forgotten the date, but it's October. And
Yes.
you be able to ask questions of Benjamin, meet my other people that come, Chang and different people. The portraits behind me, the silhouettes were drawn by a medium in 1946. Two of the people in the portraits now come in trance, and you can speak to them. One is a Frenchman, ask them questions. It's an interactive Zoom trance demonstration. It's not just all philosophy. It's individual spirit personalities that come,
Okay. And
and
I
that
will
will be
share
on
that too.
Facebook soon. Yeah,
Yes, yes, I will definitely share that. So thank you so much for spending this time with us, sharing those beautiful stories and getting rid of that fear that people
yeah,
may
no
have of
fear.
developing. Don't be
Yeah,
scared. Talk to your spirit people if you see them. Yes.
yeah. They only have love for you. There's
Yeah,
nothing else. There's nothing else that brings a spirit, only love.
that is so true. So
Yeah.
thank you and goodbye,
Thank you.
everybody.